you think you got away? Oh, you think you got away? Harlots of Spooktalk. Harlots of Spooktalk. LD is your witch. Tiff is your investigator. Karli is your dark one. Oh, you think you got away? The candle knows your name. LD is your witch. Tiff is your investigator. Karli is your dark one. Harlots of Spooktalk. Harlots of Spooktalk.
Viewer discretion advised. This episode contains strong language, adult themes, potentially frightening content. Listener discretion is strongly advised. All content is for entertainment purposes only. Any true crime or historic information discussed is publicly available online.
Good evening, Spook Talk family, and welcome back to Harlots of Spooktalk on all of your favorite platforms. Tonight, we're diving into one of the strangest, most bizarre, and most infamous true crime cases in modern history. Robert Durst, a millionaire, a fugitive, a suspected killer, and a man whose own words may have helped him solve his own case. Trust us, this story gets weird.
And when we say weird, we really mean really weird. A dark fact about Robert Durst once disguised himself as a mute woman to avoid detection while living in an apartment under a fake identity. Somehow, that wasn't even the strangest part of the story. The deeper you go, the darker it gets. Tonight we'll be exploring the disappearance, the murders, and the investigations, and the twist that made Robert Durst a true crime legend. But we'll also be discussing the chilling moments featured in the documentaries and court proceedings that left investigators and the public completely stunned.
Before we begin, a huge thank you to every one of our listeners, viewers, and subscribers, also our supporters. Whether you're watching live, listening later, or just joining us for a very first time, we appreciate you being part of the Harlots of Spooktalk family.
And a quick shout out to tonight's sponsor, The Core. Gummies that help prevent hangovers. Get 20% off with promo code HOST.
The truth can be stranger than fiction, and tonight's case proves it. Turn down the lights, settle in, and join us as we unravel the mystery of Robert Durst. This is Harlots of Spooktalk.
All right, so Robert Allen Durst was born April 12, 1943, into one of the most New York's wealthiest real estate families. His father, Seymour Durst, built what would become a powerful Durst organization. But Robert's childhood was marked as a tragedy. So when Robert was about 7 years old, his mother, Bernice Durst, died after falling from the roof of the family home. Some reports claimed Robert witnessed the event from a window below. Whether he actually saw it remains disputed, but the trauma would become a central part of the story told about Robert's life throughout this podcast. But as he grew older, family members described him as intelligent, quiet, increasingly detached. But I will tell you on this part, he did what he said on the interview is that he waved to his mom and she was on the roof and he waved to her like he didn't think nothing of it. He's just like, oh, hi, mommy. and then she jumps from the roof. And then later on at the funeral, um, he said that he had seen her in the casket in a box, and he's like, I don't want mommy in a box. I don't want mommy in a box. So,
What? Wow.
yeah, it was pretty. I thought it would have been like traumatic. He was young. He didn't quite understand. They didn't say how old he was, though.
Yeah, but that's just strange for a kid.
Yeah. He just saw mom on the roof. They said, hey, we got to go. And they put the kids in the
Yeah.
car. And then she just waves goodbye, and that was it. Hmm.
It's crazy. So in the early 1970s, Robert met Kathleen McCormick. The couple married in 1973. Friends later described Kathleen as outgoing and ambitious, while Robert was often controlling and unpredictable. Their marriage became troubled. According to friends and family, Kathleen spoke of, you know, and wanted a divorce.
Right.
Karate chops. And then everything changed.
Right.
That's,
So,
yeah.
so Kathleen did disappear, a little bit later from what maybe I misinterpreted it. But anyway, so on January 31st, 1982, Kathleen was seen alive. Robert claimed he dropped her off at a train station after spending a weekend together, but she never returned to work. She never contacted her family. She was never seen again. Nobody had ever been found. For years, the case went cold. Robert maintained that he had nothing to do with her disappearance, but for many investigators and family members believed Kathleen knew something dangerous about her husband and paid for it with her life.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's sad because that really does happen. Man.
Hmm.
I mean, this is
Kathleen
a true
was,
crime. Oh my gosh. Good job, Tiffany.
no,
Duh.
I mean, it's true because the way that we're given information, it's not, I don't know, it feels a little out of order, but, these are key points to what happens,
Yeah, it's pretty much like going, you're just shortening a long version of a
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
um
it's a long
so
story.
so as suspicion around Kathleen's disappearance lingered, Robert formed a close friendship with writer Susan Berman. Susan was intelligent, well connected, and knew many of Robert's secrets. She publicly defended him whenever questions arose about Kathleen. For years, she stood by him. Then investigators reopened Kathleen's case. Susan suddenly became very important because if anyone knew what happened to Kathleen, it might have been Susan. And that's probably true. So continue. Tell us about Susan.
So the friend, of like Kathleen, I just want to throw this in there. It was, and I always love these stories because she tells in the interview, she's like, "Now I know something happened to my friend, and it would totally be a disservice if I didn't try and go look for her." And I was like, "Oh, I love that part." But so let me tell you about Susan, okay? So on Christmas Eve 2000, Susan Berman was found shot, executed style in her Los Angeles home. One bullet to the back of her head, no signs of struggle, no robbery, just a murder. Investigators soon discovered an anonymous note that had been mailed to the police directing them to Susan's body. The note contained just strange spelling. Beverly, like all caps. Beverly Hills. And do not sing the song, because now I hear it. Beverly Hills.
That's
Okay,
where
anyways.
I want to be.
To be. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, years later that misspelling would become crucial. At the time, however, the case remained unsolved, but they spelled it Beverley.
Isn't that how you really
You
spell
know,
it?
I don't want to overthink it. But you know what's
Uh,
funny? Side note, his wife was like, I didn't even know there was a Galveston, Texas. This all started in Galveston with the apartment. She's like, I didn't even know. Like,
oh
she didn't
my
know nothing about
gosh.
this apartment.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, I just keep like thinking about little parts.
You're fine. I haven't seen that in a while, so you're fine. Um, but as investigators looked deeper into Susan's death, Robert vanished. He reappeared in Galveston, Texas, but he wasn't living as Robert Durst. He was living as Dorothy, a mute woman
Yes.
wearing disguises, pretending not to speak. Many people who met him never realized he was one of America's richest men. It sounds absurd, but yet it was true. That's disgusting. I'm sorry, like
It's
I don't care. I mean, you want to be a like cross dresser or whatever, by all means, that's good. That's cool. We can be friends.
well, he was doing it for the intentions were not great. You know what I'm saying? Like he was doing it so he wouldn't get in trouble. He wouldn't get caught. But you know how he got caught? Actually, let me make sure it doesn't say this in here. Okay, so you want to know how he got caught,
Yeah, let's read about it.
honey? I was like, did I put it in here? Okay, no, but he went into the store to go buy one of those. I don't know. They're like a sandwich, like this meaty sandwich, right? He went into the store and he looked around and then he ran out with the freaking sandwich. He tried to like steal it, and then he went to his vehicle, like he kept renting vehicles, like he loved to rent vehicles, And they found two gun pew pews in the car, and yeah, so I was like, what
Oh
the
my
heck?
gosh.
And the detective was like, obviously he wanted to get caught, like he wanted to get caught, and maybe he did because he called them up and said, hey,
Mhm.
I want to be a part of the interview. And they're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Where'd you leave off?
Oh, oh, yeah. So, anyways, in Galveston, Robert befriended a neighbor named Morris Black. The two men spent time together. Then in September 2001, Morris Black disappeared, right? So, days later, body parts were found floating in the Galveston Bay. The victim, and I got more stories on this. The victim had been dismembered. The trail led directly to Robert Durst. Durst admitted to cutting up the body, but he claims it was self defense. According to Robert, Black attacked him and he accidentally killed him during the struggle. This dismemberment, he said, was a panic. Now, let me tell you, it really was. Like, so they had seen floating along the water was his torso. So the cop goes in there and he puts his hand down and he has to pull it out by the bone. And they were like, kind of, he's like, really? And he's like, how else am I going to get the body out? I don't know about that detective. He was something. He was I don't know. He seemed a little too happy about it, but that's just my opinion. I don't know that to be a fact. But then, they searched the area and they found black bags that came in with like different body parts, like legs, and like they have like one knee, hairy leg, by the way. It was definitely. okay? No disrespect. Men have hairy legs. But, and then it had like an arm, you know. It was just all, it was crazy. But, oh, and also in that car, sorry now that I'm like nerding out about it, in that vehicle, not only did we find the two pew pews, but in the, wait a minute, are these the same story? I don't know. But anyways, there was a saw in the back of the car. I feel like he got pulled over in a truck's like a stop. Yeah, I think maybe it was the same thing because they found the saw in the back of the vehicle, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got him." That's when the investigator was like, "Oh yeah, we got him," in an accent too. Anyways,
So, this trial shocked the country. Most people assumed a conviction was certain. After all, Durst admitted cutting up the body, he admitted disposing of the remains, and he fled afterward. Yeah, dum dum. Yet his defense team successfully argued self defense. Okay. In 2003, Robert Durst was acquitted of murder. Acquitted. Okay? What the actual? Yeah. The verdict stunned many observers. Some believed justice had failed, others believed prosecutors had not proven their case. Robert walked free. That's what acquitted is. He got his whole case
okay,
rule like overturned. Is acquitted is just a fancier word for overturned.
you know, I just realized. Okay, so he was. Oh, okay, my memory's not great. So he was arrested the first time, and they had found the saw, and they said, I remember they said $250,000 to bond, right? And he was on trial for going to go to trial for murder, right? And he looked at the cop and he was like, "What do I do?" And they're like, "Well, do you got $250,000?" And he was like, "Well, not on me." So he calls his wife, and that's when she heard about Galveston. Okay, and she's like, "I never even heard of this place." She paid it. He got out, and that must have been when the sandwich thing comes up. This is, and again, this is kind of what makes it strange, you know. He did end up becoming a fugitive. So police discovered he had over $30,000 in cash, multiple IDs, and a vehicle ready for escape. Yet he was arrested for shoplifting a sandwich, a bandage, and a newspaper. Right? So do you think that he wanted to get caught? I think he
He
was tired of
did.
running.
Yeah, because that is the stupidest thing to get caught shoplifting. You know, because most people are all like, oh, it's a bandage. Okay. It's a freaking sandwich and a newspaper.
Right,
Like,
right.
any place isn't going to be that dumb.
They're probably like, that guy was strange. He was literally standing in the middle of the store, like looking around, like, should I do it? Should I do it?
Yeah. Yeah. But so this documentary that, you keep talking about was years later the filmmakers approached Robert and about a documentary. The result was HBO's The Jinx. I think it's still on there. Is it still on there?
Yeah, I was literally watching it today, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. What was weird is he went to them. He called them, like they had the recording of him saying, "Hey,
But yeah, he said to everyone's surprise, Robert agreed to participate. For several episodes, he denied wrongdoing. Then came the moment that changed everything. I don't want to ruin it for everybody. You gotta go watch it.
oh, oh Okay, so if you're watching, stop here and go watch it because we're gonna tell you what happened. So after that interview, right, Robert went to the bathroom, but he apparently didn't realize that his microphone was still recording. So that audio captured him muttering, "What the hell did I do? Kill the mom, of course." The moment became one of the most famous scenes in documentary history. Whether it was a confession or something else remains debated, but public opinion shifted dramatically. So we went from like, justifiable to dude.
But in 2015, just before the final episode of The Jinx aired, Robert Durst was arrested. This time, investigators focused on Susan Berman's murder. So the evidence that included that was the anonymous note, the handwriting similarities, witness testimony, and statements Durst had made over the years. So, like, wow.
So finally, in 2021, Robert Durst was finally convicted of murdering Susan Berman. Prosecutors argued that she had been killed because she knew too much about Kathleen's disappearance. Durst received a life sentence, and for the first time, one of the mysterious mysteries surrounding him resulted in a murder conviction.
Oh, wow. But so here's where it ends. It's the end for Robert Durst. He passed away in prison on January 20th, January 10th, 2022 at age
So
78.
about
So he took many answers with him so nobody will find out. To this
yeah,
day, Kathleen McCormick's body has never been found. Many questions remain about Susan Berman. Debate continues over Morris Black's death. Some believe Robert was responsible for multiple murders. Others argue some mysteries may never be fully solved. It's true, though. It's true.
yeah, yeah. So here's the closing question for you. Was Robert Durst a brilliant manipulator who evaded justice for decades, or was he a deeply troubled man caught in a series of tragic and bizarre circumstances? That's the question that still haunts one of America's strangest true crime cases today. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything Tiff would not do today.
Today, yes. All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.